Different button. All right. Present, Stephen, Tom, Susan, Kathy, Larry, Frank, and Helen. Are there any announcements? I know of nothing.
I was just going to say some more people have joined us on Flickr.
Oh, good, good.
So our Flickr number of pictures are going way up,
Good.
which is
I
fabulous.
haven't been on there in a little while. I know I've got some to load up.
You need to. Tom has been on there. Remember, I guess on that, of course, you've got your own account where you put pictures, and
Yeah.
then don't forget to put them on the Chatham InFocus page, account, whatever, also, if you want to. But that's what I'm hoping that.
Yeah, there's a little there, and I think in the right-hand corner there's a share button, and you just hit share, and then you can, if you don't have already a search for Chatham InFocus, you can look for the group and then share it with that group. So if you have any trouble, just holler.
You have to share the whole, all of your photos and the photos?
No, just you have to put them on one by one by one. Yeah.
But I was hoping that we could get our challenge pictures at least
Up there.
up there. I mean, you can put others, of course, but at least get our challenge so that folks that missed a meeting could at least see the pictures.
Right.
If the conversion doesn't work, you know, Mike has had so much trouble with Zoom converting to put it on YouTube, and anyway, it's running him crazy, and apparently everybody else in the Zoom community had the same trouble. So if it doesn't work, at least the people that missed the meeting could see the photographs.
Is there an administrator on that? So if we want to join, you can let us in?
Yes. Yeah. Sure.
Yeah,
And Bill keeps good tabs on it too. He's a co-administrator. But and as noted, Bill couldn't be with us today, but Stephen sent me something that I thought might make a good tips and tricks. Let me get the share screen go. I've got to do one other thing here. Oh, where is it? Lynn, can you see that?
Yes,
You can see it?
yes.
Okey-doke. Let me get some of the rest of this clutter out here. Well, now it's gone. Let's try this again. Well, minute I clicked off to share it, it went away. Ah, we go. Lynn, you still see it?
Yes,
Okey-doke. All right. Well, where is it? Share. And it's not doing it. I give up.
So, back to Flickr while he's working on that. I think that with Larry, let's see, we've got one person, I think, to convince to join, and we'll have the whole club on Flickr.
Oh, good. That's good.
Yeah.
Good number.
that's great.
Well, we can see it, so.
Yeah, now you
Yeah, but Lynn can't.
I can see it.
can see it.
Oh, you can?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, well, I can't see it. There you go. That's a new button too, seriously.
Really, wow.
Brandon,
What? Windows is the same way. Why can't they leave well
Yeah, I
enough
know.
alone?
Well, it won't let me, jeez.
What are you gonna do, like try to go through the slides?
Yeah, and I give up. I really do give up.
We feel your
It's
pain.
not letting me,
There's no slideshow button that will then start because I see you've got this other slides going down on the left side.
you are sharing screen,
Because it's things on the side.
but it doesn't give me control of that screen. That's the problem. I'm gonna back out of this and try again. Stop share. Where the heck is that? Right there. Well, we may deprive you of this, Lynn. I don't know.
Is the,
Can you see it still, Lynn?
Yes, I can.
All right, finally then. And we need to move this.
Yeah, maybe you just slide those two over.
Yeah.
So that they're not over the,
Okay.
okay.
So Stephen sent this, and Stephen, tell us what you did with this, how you got to this place.
Okay. I'm going to assume that you just are talking to me, and I'm having to assume that because my hearing aids quit on the way over here.
oh, okay.
A bloody thing, okay? So, since I'm supposed to say something about, technical stuff, since our leader on that isn't here today, let me go ahead and do that. I didn't shoot this picture, okay? I shot the eagle that's in the picture, that's mine. But when I originally shot that, that was over by the dam at Falls Lake. It was in January, if you'll notice the green trees and so forth on the other side. And, it was a very nice picture of an eagle flying across a very dull background of winter woods. So I thought, well, what happens if we change the background on that? And that's kind of what I wanted to say a bit about, because it turns out that it's enormously easy to do that these days. AI kind of stuff, and AI is always to me kind of intimidating, but what's intimidating is kind of learning what you have to do to engage it.
Right.
Once it's engaged, the whole point is it makes things much simpler. So in this, I had this picture of this eagle flying along against the winter woods, and I went to Photoshop and said, select subject, one command, and it pops up the eagle, and it's got an outline perfectly drawn around it. If you guys have done this sort of thing in the past, this eagle has got a lot of fine detail, on the wing feathers and so forth. It would have taken, I would guess, an hour at least, trying to draw a selection of that by hand. This took, 2 seconds maybe. Select subject, bang, okay. And then went over to another set of commands, and the trick is knowing where the commands are. The commands themselves, there's absolutely nothing to do them. In this case, I said generative fill on the command, and generative fill means that it's going to fill in some guess about what I'm saying, And then since I didn't really want to change the eagle, I wanted to change the background. I said the third command, which was invert. And what that did is it said, well, whatever you say next or right next, we're going to do to the background rather than to the subject. So we've got, select subject, generate, fill, invert, 1, 2, 3 button clicks. And then I have to be very creative. I've now got to say something. Okay, so I said skimming river. Okay, type that in, and it goes pop, and we've got that. Okay. If you didn't like that, it generates as many things as you want to say. You can say, raging river, or then you have something kind of boiling down. But it's kind of fun because you're playing with it, and every time you tell it to do something, it kind of interprets. Should I say? You could say, okay, Seine River, Eiffel Tower, and then it would give me as we go over at the Olympics for that.
Superimpose on Celine Dion.
The problem, of course, with that is, you don't know what the hell it's going to do, right? It's
Well-
kind of fun to do that.
Yeah. What blows me away, Stephen, what blows me away is
Say
the
something to me, and I have no idea.
okay,
what I
it's
say.
the reflection in at the very bottom.
That's what really struck me about this, is that I didn't say anything about reflections in the water, but, it dropped it down, I said skimming, because I'd done enough of these, and I knew I didn't want it up in the sky. But, it created the shadow of the wing. There was no shadow in the original print. And I found that both kind of amazing and also kind of scary, that it's able to
Yeah.
figure that stuff out. And it's, the shadow is essentially perfect as far as I can tell. I mean, there's nothing about that looks like it wasn't there.
Well, you can see the tail and the feet in the reflection.
Yeah,
It's perfect.
oh, it is.
Gee.
So you can do, a very similar thing without having to rely on what the hell was it gonna come up with. In the ones that I've got a couple down in which there's another eagle picture, this one against just a blue sky, perfectly clear background. And since we're just supposed to do thunderstorms, there's another function where you can look at a collection of background pictures. Photoshop has a series of them. You can buy, 1,000 of them for $20 or something. And you say, well, which one of those would I like as the background? And so, well, that one's nice. It looks pretty thunderstormy. So I said, to a click thunderstorm. Now it's a one-click thing, right? Okay. And it puts, instead of my nice blue sky, a thunderstorm. And what it does is it forms that perfectly around the eagle. I mean, it doesn't, intrude on the eagle in any way. It's, as with this one, with those feather details, you can see the river between the feathers. It does it astonishingly perfectly. And it did with this other one too, except in the other one, I got to choose what I wanted the background to be from, whatever kind of collection of backgrounds I have. Do that one, it goes pop, one click, and you just, now, I don't know about this, is this, it's cheating, clearly, I'll, go ahead and want to say that. But, what do we make of this? I mean, if we're saying the point of a photograph is to capture what we see, this one doesn't. It didn't in the original picture, because in the original picture, it's flying against, the background was there, but it's shot at like a 2,000th of a second. Our brains can't process the 2,000th of a second. If I said, I'm gonna show you this picture, it's a great picture, and I flashed it on the screen for a 2,000th of a second, nobody would see anything, okay? Our brains simply can't do that. But, so if we say, well, you can only, it's not a real picture unless you're showing, what you can see, you could never see that. We see the bird flying along and we sort of infer lots of things about details of feathers, and we interpose what we know about feather detail from seeing the eagle sitting, we studying it with a scope with binoculars. But we don't ever actually see that thing, we can't, we're not physiologically capable of seeing that image. So there's that argument, there's the argument that would say, if I look at that, was the exposure like that in the original that I shot? No, it wasn't. I changed the exposure, so it kind of brought out some highlights on the wings and that sort of thing. It looks nicer than it did, and, I shot in the raw, and raw is kind of dull and flat, right? So I made a lot of choices on my own. If he'd shot and put in JPEG, then the camera would have made a lot of choices on its own, keeping some things, emphasizing some things, de-emphasizing other things. So I don't know, it's a kind of a quandary, it's an interesting quandary of, are we trying to duplicate reality, which we're not really doing, or are we doing something else? And if we're doing something else, is it cheating or is it art? What are we doing? If it's art, then what do we think? If you said somebody, paint me a picture of an eagle, and they took artistic liberties with that so that it was positioned nicely in the background, it was beautiful, and so we say, great, don't give us a picture of an eagle, give us an old gray woods, who wants that? Give me something I want to look at. So I don't know what I don't know where it is. It's a kind of an interesting kind of thing, since you can so easily change things so dramatically. And even if we're not trying to change things, if we're just trying to make kind of a nicer picture, we're still making choices about, what image we're emphasizing, information we're emphasizing or de-emphasizing.
Well, Stephen, I think the thing that sticks out in me in one of your, the notes you sent me was it is just plain scary. But thanks for the scare, I guess. But it's a great photo.
Yeah.
I'm sure whatever you said was both interesting and insightful.
Thumbs up.
Since I have absolutely no idea, I'm gonna excuse myself, but I apologize for that, and then I can talk, but I can't hear, so there's no point in my sitting here being annoying to people. Thank you all.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you.
We're going to Larry, and then Frank, and then Tom, and Susan. And there are some photos today that were from last time, and some that are set for today that will be next time. So the list is not quite as long as it might have been. But Larry, there are 3 Larrys that are macros.
Right. And I took these with, I brought 2 extension tubes, if people wanna look at them, I brought that to about 10 millimeters on my lens that I have, my kit lens. So these are for E-type, for Sony. You buy the type of camera you have. So these are metal. I'll pass them around, and they seem to work. I sat my tripod up, and I focused it on the flower, and then I just waited for a beat. That's all you can do. You can't move it because it will blur you out. You can see the background. So I just shot it and see what I could find. And you do a lot of shooting, by the way, and a lot of it doesn't come out. That's what came out.
God,
There's another one.
Oh, that's great.
wow.
So I took that the same way. I don't know if it was the same flower or a different flower, but in the garden. And I just waited for this bee to show up. And they're flying all around. They're landing on everything, so it's just a matter of time before they decide that that's what they want to do.
Wow.
So this one showed up.
Yeah, this
On
is,
that shot there, you use your regular kit lens.
Right.
And which one did you put on?
10 millimeter.
The 10 millimeter.
Yeah, because the other one is 16, and I just couldn't, it's hard to work with this stuff,
Yeah.
and, you know, and I just hit the shutter, I should have used you know, a clicker on it, but I didn't,
Oh,
because I didn't wanna shake the camera,
right,
but,
yeah.
This
so
is-
that's what came out, but,
Yeah.
I was so pleased to get something.
Yeah.
This is more than just something. This is really nice.
Fabulous.
And that beat.
Fabulous. Let me ask you a question. Do you feel like they fit well, those tubes?
Oh, I got the metal ones because they have plastic ones, and I wouldn't recommend getting the plastic ones. These things cost, I can't remember, but it was like under $30.
Yeah.
It was, you know, you just go to B&H or wherever and you get these. And they fit exactly, you can see that they're lined up with the imaging, you know,
I want to get the brand because I got a set from B&H
Mhm.
that said in the reviews that people had trouble getting them on and off.
these
And I
are
bought
called,
them anyway, and I
these are
think,
called Newers, Neewer.
Right.
There is a variation, and I have this, and I don't think I've ever used it, that screw on like a filter. So that's not as sophisticated as that, and I can't imagine.
But I've had some trouble, like, I got what do you call it? A filter to put on my camera and just plastic, and I had trouble getting it on.
Yeah.
To say that I stopped using it because I was afraid I was gonna strip.
Strip the,
Yeah, so.
I believe that it was my extension tubes that ruined my good, it was something like 27 to 85 lens for my Canon. And I just have been scared to get any from my Sony, but if you've got some that work, I will, but
Yeah, you can take these and play with them if you want.
sometime I will,
Yeah.
great.
So-
But I would caution anybody to be careful. Chris at Southeastern said that the lens just had the wire in it, was apparently a wire that's sort of like a spring.
Mm-hmm.
And he said he thought that it had just worn out. But I'm pretty sure that I got one of those things on there and I thought, I'm gonna have to get a hammer to get it off. And
You can buy a wrench to get
yeah,
to get filters off. It's plastic.
yeah.
It's like you'd use on an oil canister in your car if you go back that far. But
But be careful if.
And that's another guy,
I still
same
think,
flower,
ooh,
might even be the same bee, I don't know.
uh,
I don't know, this is George. This is- I don't know. So, I got lucky.
boy, no, you
It
didn't.
just worked.
well, the background being blurred, that's incredible. It does really shrink up the field.
You know, so it gives you, still maintains the motion.
But you got the eyes perfectly.
Yeah, I don't know how I did this.
But, you know, it's something, it's fun to play around with, you know, 'cause,
Uh-huh.
yeah, I wasn't, you know, looking forward to the macro, but, you know, once I started playing with it, you know, this was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I mean, you can go out and buy a macro lens. They're about, Sony, even the used lens is around $400. And I just, you know, that makes sense for me, I don't do that kind
Yeah,
of work.
yeah.
I mean, if you did that for a living, I guess it would be important.
Now, as great as these shots are, the one for today from Larry, I need a real explanation of.
This is Storm,
Wow.
right?
Is this
Yeah.
a perfect storm?
That might be.
Yeah, look like.
So that is a actual, boat that is used, by our wonderful first responders. It's in the Maritime Museum located in Astoria, Oregon, which is right at the mouth of the Columbia River as it enters into the Pacific Ocean. And this is a Coast Guard boat that can literally flip over and come back up. It's like a top.
Yeah.
And that's why they're built that way. And these guys, this is just it was a wonderful, I don't know, diorama, what would you call it? But anyway, it was a wonderful exhibit of the Coast Guard and this area, and what a storm would look like if a man was overboard. And looks like that was man overboard, right?
Wow.
Yeah.
But that's the actual boat. I mean, that's how big it is. So it's a photograph of an actual boat, not a model boat.
Wait a minute, I don't understand. In the diorama, they use it in an actual boat. Okay. You took a picture.
Oh, wow.
Right. I took a
Wow.
picture of the diorama because I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
No
Just a
kidding.
background story, I don't want to take too much time talking about this, but in the winter, let's say in late November through probably March, the winds and the waves, when they come off the Columbia River, which is a huge river, and it flows into the Pacific, and the Pacific's trying to come into the Columbia, right, at the same time, creates incredible waves and wind. The waves, I mean, I can't remember the numbers, but we're talking 50-foot waves and 70-mile-an-hour winds, and it's all crashing together. And this spot is used for, this is the most dangerous in the United States. So they use this worldwide, first responders, various countries, coast guards come into this area to
train.
practice, rescues.
Yeah.
Because the water is so unbelievably rough, and in the summertime, of course, it's just flat. But, when the winter comes around, it does this every year, and it's, the Maritime Museum was a real surprise for us when we visited. We thought it was, a little old building, but boy, it's beautifully laid out, and they talk about all these things. There are a lot of ships. The last ship that sunk out there was in 1960 something. So they have maps of all the ships that sunk in this area. And then plus they have sandbars that move constantly. So they have special pilots that take boats through this area because the movement of sandbars can change within a month.
Yeah.
And so if you get stuck on a sandbar in this situation, you're done.
You got it, yeah.
But that was my storm picture.
Yeah.
So
So is the camera tilted?
I tried to capture, you can see the window on the right-hand side. That's the outside of the museum. So I tried to tilt it to make it as if you would be in that boat,
Yeah. Yeah.
in that situation. It was probably tilted to a degree.
It's effective to do it that way.
Yeah, it is.
So you see the water line?
Yeah.
Where the guy is in the water?
Right.
Would that ordinarily be horizontal?
I can't remember.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's great, I love that.
Yeah.
Angles.
But the Coast Guard has an incredible reputation out there for rescues. And they're very successful. In fact, no Coast Guard ships have gone down at all. I think there was one that went down in 1935, but that was it. I mean, they've been rescuing people every year, so.
Well, a heck of a piece of art, too.
That's
All
a
right.
beautiful shot,
That is.
colors.
Thanks, Larry.
Yeah, I love that.
Chuck was meant to be next. He wasn't sure he would make it, but I'm going to skip him and go to Frank. And one of the reasons for skipping these, I never can be assured that the video is going to work, and I would hate to
Right.
get comments, and it's easy enough just to pass them on to the next one, and we'll do that with Chuck. So, Frank, you are up.
I don't know if anybody has been up to the town of Gibsonville, which is right up near Graham.
I've been
Have you been to the train
railroad,
yard?
yes.
Yeah, that place is fascinating. I'm gonna have my two grandsons, the youngest ones are staying with me for this month. So I'm gonna take them up there, but my wife and I went up to check it out. And it's amazing because it's I would say it's probably the size of this room.
It's huge.
And they've got all these tracks, and people bring their own trains up and put them on the track, and then they run them through the transformer that they have. but they had this little house, like right alongside the track, and I do have a macro lens that was given to me years ago. It's a 90mm macro, so I brought that up with me to test it out, to see. So that little house is like, from where I am here, down on the floor there. And that's where I took this, and this was, I took it back on July 13th. It was about 320th of a second, ISO 100. It was a bright day that day. It was f4.0. And again, it was taken at that Gibsonville Gardens Railroad. And the only thing I did to it, the few things I only do are I boost the texture a little bit, the clarity. I try to leave the color alone because it by itself, the color was really nice. And sharpened it a little bit, and that was it. Because one of the tough things with the macro lens, especially if you don't have a tripod, it moves and it can get out of focus. So I was pretty happy with this one. The house itself stayed in focus.
Old lens, but awfully sharp.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
when you look at the roof and the detail of the roof lines, you know, the
Yeah.
blue, and that's beautiful picture.
What was the F stop?
Let's see, that was F4, did I say?
Yeah.
Yeah, F4. Yeah, because I was trying to take it as high as I could to try and keep the depth of field in there. But yeah, it's pretty well in focus from the rock in the front and up to the top of the roof. And, you know, once you get beyond it with the tracks, it goes out of focus.
That's really nice.
Gibsonville is right adjacent to Elon,
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
and so that's
That was about an hour, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
we go to Elon twice a year. My daughter-in-law's parents live in Gibsonville.
Yeah.
And so we go by it twice a year, but it's a railroad system. They call it Garden Railroad. It's the largest trains that they make, and it's for gardens, so the cars are huge.
Yeah.
And they have it set up all year round, but I think they only use it when the weather is.
Right, because they must take them in the tracks, I guess they cover, but the trains they take off. And a lot of them are trains that people bring up that are visitors, and they put them on the track, and then they run them around to different, and the little buildings and things they have, they're really elaborate that they put out there. This kind of caught my eye, that's why I wanted
You
to
should
take it.
take a trip out there. It's only,
I was gonna say.
it's about, from here, it would be about just under 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Because when we had to do railroads.
Oh, yeah, that's
Yeah.
Maybe we could do
That's
a
coming up.
field trip.
Yeah, because
before.
no, this
Oh.
is perfect, it'll give you a really nice opportunity. The only snag is it's only Saturdays from 10 to 12, or 12 to 10 to 2, or something like that.
Yeah.
It's not open during the week. But I was going either this Saturday or the next Saturday, gonna take the two boys up, and they'll let them run the train.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah, they'll let you out there, and they'll let you run the
I didn't
train.
know that.
I didn't introduce this as a macro, but I guess you got that, as is this one. And this is a this is a frame it.
This was a dry flower arrangement we have in our kitchen. So I took it, I set it up on the table, I put a black screen behind it, although you can't really see anything because of all the flowers around it. And this one was, I did use a tripod because I wanted to keep it still. And this was and again, I used that 90mm macro, set it up with a tripod. It was 1/10 of a second, ISO 100, and it too was f4.0. And to give it a little more, I increased its clarity, and I also increased the texture on it, but then I put a little bit of a vignette, a dark vignette around the whole outside. So that's why it gets dark.
What about the light?
I use that artificial light that I have. I put it on the table next to it. Actually, I put it a little down below, it's shining up.
Railroads is September 3rd.
So, that's the challenge?
Day.
Yeah. But yeah, definitely get up there. Like I said, I'm gonna try this Saturday or maybe next Saturday. Since they're very, and then with the kids, it's great because they have a great place to eat next door and an ice cream parlor.
Sounds good.
Take them there.
Well, this shot, Frank, is really nice.
Thanks.
Texture, I've never used that.
It's with the effects, and you got texture, then you got clarity. D-Haze, I know Bill loves that one, and I've used that a little bit on, and so, and I just limit it to those three. It's just, I pretty much do the auto and let it get the general, and then just do a little
Tweaking.
tweaking around it.
Yeah.
Now, this was taken, this was down in Fort Myers. I was down there 2 weeks ago, last week or the week before, attending a baseball tournament. And then we were going over one of the bridges to get to the baseball field, and the storm came in right in front of us. So you had the dark clouds, but you also had the sun peeking through on the lower left there. And so this was taken with my Canon 60, the 28 to 30, 300 millimeter lens, and it was 83 millimeter. I cropped it to get a lot of the superfluous stuff out of the image. And it was 1/320th of a second and f/13 ISO 100. And again, I just played around with the texture, the clarity, and reduced the highlights because those clouds in the lower left were a little bit blown out, and they kind of brought them back in. But that was one thing down there, nice being down there for a storm challenge, that one comes in every afternoon.
Well, I like this, the symmetry of the bridge rails. And it's foreground, medium ground, long, far ground.
Yeah.
They're right on the thirds, every
Those
one.
poles worked out nicely,
Yeah.
leading you
Yeah,
up to the top of the bridge and over the other side.
yeah.
Excellent picture.
Now this was after I had gotten back, and I was last week, I think it was, and I was driving down 15501 to head home, and this storm just came out of nowhere in front of us. This was down near UNC Hospital in that area. So all of a sudden, everybody stopped because the rain was coming down so hard. So I
Wow.
grabbed my iPhone. I didn't have my camera with me. I grabbed the iPhone, and when we stopped, I just turned the windshield wipers off and let the windshield kind of fill up with rain, and then took this shot with it. And again,
Excellent.
it was with the iPhone, and it says in the readout on it, when I look it up on Photoshop, it was 1/40th of a second. It was f/1.8, and it was ISO 32. And I just liked the way the lights came through, and, the red against the blue of the sky up on top. And, I was just really happy with it. I'm glad I ran into this.
That was so smart, dude.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
wondering how you caught this driving, and Frank, and for the rest of you with iPhones or Androids, there are a bunch of iPhone Flickr groups.
Yeah, oh yeah, yeah.
So don't ignore posting things like this there, but this is great, whatever you took it with.
Yeah. It looks like you used a distort in,
Yeah.
in one of the processes.
Just set it right on, and this was just the way it came out.
Really nice.
All right.
How away were you from the windshield with the camera?
Let's see, the windshield is like right here. I was like this.
Did you move the phone up to the windshield?
Just a little bit,
Yeah.
yeah. And then, and I guess, and also there was more of the dashboard and the hood showing, and I cropped that out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
good choice.
I've taken a lot of photographs through windshields and in the rain.
Yeah.
But this one's really.
Yeah. I think some people wouldn't recognize, I wasn't sure what it was until you started describing it.
And the other thing that added to it was just in the center, there's that clearing. The sun was peeking out above, north of it, or no, south. We were heading south at that point.
Pitching another Flickr group, there are all kinds of abstract
Yeah.
photos that
After the
do,
last meeting, you recommended go look at other groups in there to see the areas that you're interested in,
yeah,
and I started doing it, and there is a lot out there.
yeah,
Yeah. That's really nice.
yeah. All right, Tom is up next.
Well, let's see, can you make it any bigger?
Yep.
Okay, this is on, White Cross Road. Yeah. That's the Durham Farm on White Cross Road. It's mostly trees along that road. And as you know, some of you have photographed the gargoyles along there.
Yeah,
This is further on in, I think it's still in Chatham. But no, it's just in Orange County.
I drive by that farm. That is-
The Durham Farm, yeah, it'll be on the right as you're heading away from Pittsburgh. So, there you have it, it's a storm.
Over clouds.
What about the Mack truck?
Yeah, right, so I was shot, 6 or 8 things, I was stopped in the middle of the road, Alice was all excited. And, so I just started flashing pictures one right after another, and several vehicles came through, including this Mack truck, which happened to be green.
That is perfect.
I love the
colors
Mack truck, I think it's just terrific.
Yeah, I wish it had been out of focus, to put some motion
Yeah.
into the picture, and I could probably figure out how to do that in post, but I haven't.
I see the guy's helmet in the truck, and that was a very clear picture.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's remarkably.
right up in the corner, right top.
he was probably wondering what in the world you were doing.
I'm surprised he didn't hit the horn.
Wow. What did you shoot it with, Tom?
My phone.
On the phone, okay.
Yeah. So this is the same place without the truck and without this.
I like the truck.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Truck like that.
the truck, right, I completely agree. But it was quite a storm, and I liked, in this one, I liked the upsweep of the lighter color.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Taking off to the upper left.
And I love the darkness of the
Yeah.
lower clouds.
Yeah.
you look into the darkest areas of the trees and it's still really
Oh, yeah.
detailed.
Is this with your phone too?
Yeah, this is a fun.
Look at that house, look at the detail in their house.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Well, I selected sharpened all the buildings
Okay.
to bring them out. There, if you zoom way in on them, you can see they're way over sharpened. But to look at them from a distance.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
It looks like
Good
looks
God.
like a dragon coming out of that,
Yeah, doesn't it?
looks like teeth and an eye and.
Yeah.
I would have been running the other way.
Good shot.
When you were saying you wanted to blur that, I tried using that blush for blur, but I haven't had a lot of luck with it.
Well, yeah, and what is it that I want? It's not blur, what is it? It's motion.
Oh, right. Rather than just blurring it, almost like that movement in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how to do that.
Interesting, what's the difference? Yeah. Anyway, this was, I was thinking, oh, I gotta get a picture, and,
You got it.
and I was driving Alice back, and I thought, oh, stop.
Well, two good shots.
Alice.
All right, thanks, Tom.
Oh,
And Susan is up.
Oh,
This is terrific too.
Well, talk about gotta get a picture. So what happened was during one of the storms, frogs end up on the window. On these glass doors, they're dirty, need to be cleaned. And I just got out the camera and I started taking a picture of this frog. So I think he's a coach spray tree frog, and I can't figure out what is in the middle of the frog's belly. I don't know if that's a piece of dust, if it's a hole, I don't know what it is. I have no idea. I can't figure it out.
Well, I think it's something anatomical.
Okay. Anyway, so here it is, and
This is terrific, Susan.
thank you. At one point, I thought about taking out that spot on the right,
No,
but
no.
I didn't. I like that there, yeah.
Well, you could do a portrait view of it, but I think that
I
you're,
think in some ways, as Tom might say, that little spot on the right made it, to me in a way, made it kind of more interesting,
yeah.
having that thing there, I don't know, anyway.
I'm glad the glass was dirty because the paw prints
Yeah.
almost look like oriental and it just adds.
Yeah, it looks oriental.
more to it.
huh.
Yeah. Looks like Chinese.
Yeah, that is just great.
And it's
suction cup,
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
amazing.
And that's definitely a conversation.
Whoops.
okay, so this is inside my house, and actually, we have corner windows, and there's actually a line there, but I took it out. So
Oh,
we
okay.
actually, yeah, there's actually a line that would be there. And this is a view from one of the corner windows of my house, and I look out, I have to confess, I look out it a lot. And I just really like it, and so when it was raining, there's also, you can't tell, but in the middle where the V is, there's actually a hole there for a rain chain, but the rain chains get all clogged up, and so does the roof, and that's why the water is pouring down on the side instead of going through that hole. And I did a fair amount of manipulation with this. What happened was I sort of followed Bill's advice, because it was pretty light, and so I adjusted the exposure, what is it called, EV. So I actually did it at -2 EV. So it was actually very light and but I made it dark, so that then I could play around with, changing the lighting.
Nice.
Nice.
But you can see the water pouring off, the roof,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and that's because it was raining a lot,
And the water's not stopped, that's nice, you know.
You stopped that one, I guess it was.
yeah.
Huh.
Anyway,
-2.
yeah, it was -2, and then it was FA 1/100 to the second, ISO 3200, 55 millimeters.
So that's it, again, Frank, you know, like on that, looking at that water, now, what's the difference between blur and motion?
Yeah, right.
And it, you know, it stopped at the top. But at the bottom, it's, so how do you describe that?
Yeah, the other thing I have to admit is sometimes I like living around here that it's so green that you can kind of pretend you live in the jungle. So, and I guess this is considered a, what is it, subtropical or something,
Yeah.
the area, something, but anyway.
Yeah, we'll be zone 8 or 9 in a year or two.
Anyway,
Yeah, right.
All right, Chuck has 2 more coming up that will carry over, and Stephen has 2 more. We're going down to, up, Kathy.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Wow, that's great.
Monet.
Took a whole bunch of time to
Yes.
get shots, because it just wasn't, working, and then at the last minute, it was pouring rain, it was night, and there you go. Went out on the porch. The light is from, street light. And, that's it.
Now, is that glass we're looking through, or
No, I'm actually out on the porch.
porch, okay.
Screen porch?
Screen.
No,
No.
Oh, it's open.
yeah,
Oh, okay.
it was raining really
Hard,
hard.
yeah.
So you're getting pretty wet.
No, I was on the porch,
Oh, so you were covered.
yeah,
Oh, it's open, I see.
Okay.
just the front porch, I'm under the,
That's
under it.
Well, it definitely says storm when you
really
look
Yeah.
at that.
I like
That
the
is-
light too, the light's great.
Yeah.
I really lucked out with the light. The only thing I did was, well, I changed the color a little bit, but I actually had that lower left-hand shadow, that's from my car, and there was actually a lot of that. And I just had to, I backed that off, but I was able to leave some of it because I thought it was a counterweight to the shadows from the tree. That's it. But it was really fun.
Yeah.
Well, we've had some of those where it's out of nowhere, it
Yeah.
just goes pouring. That's what happened to me on driving back.
Yeah,
It was coming down so hard, windshield wipers couldn't keep up with it.
yeah.
So did you make the leaves on the top a little fuzzy?
No, that's how they were.
I don't think, I think that's part of why it's a good picture, is that they're not sharp.
Yeah, they give atmosphere.
Yeah, you're right, it does look like a Monet.
Yeah, I like the composition and the color, I like the color
Nice.
too.
So the rain was probably making the leaves move, and you were probably,
Exactly.
what were you shooting at, what the?
This is my iPhone.
So do you know the shutter speed?
No, I don't, no. Yeah, and then this is actually an idea that I got from Susan. I saw her last week or whenever, and she said, well, she was thinking about after the storm.
Mhm.
So this is, well, I just see what you guys think, if you like it or whatever.
Oh, yeah, great abstract.
Again, the light, that's must be a reflection of the sun
Mhm.
on the right.
And again, Kat, this was taken where?
This is the parking lot at Harris Teeter.
At Harry, okay.
And same thing, it was just absolutely drenching rain. I was actually waiting in my car for a minute, and then all of a sudden, the sun came out, you're right, the reflections.
That's the calm after the sun.
Yeah, and then the water was just pouring off the parking lot. And that little brown in the bottom there is actually a reflection of me. And, yeah, I cropped this around, rotated, and I took a bunch of these, and I like a lot of them, but I ended up liking this one the best. Because that upper right-hand line there is the paint in the parking lot.
Oh,
So, too many of them, that was too obvious it was a parking lot.
Yeah.
So I wanted it just be,
I see.
yeah, that dark line is
Yeah,
parking lot.
Huh.
it's not obvious.
No.
Yeah. Yeah, and some of the other ones, it was just too clear that this was a white line in a parking lot.
But even that would have looked pretty cool.
Yeah.
And they do, but, yeah, not what I was, yeah, I know what you mean. So anyway,
That's nice.
The sun glistening and making the diamonds
Yeah.
mhm,
is cool too.
yeah,
well, this will say, this will seem terribly sugary, but we could do an exhibit, one photo from every day, from everyone here. They were all that good. I mean, across the board.
yeah, that's good to hear.
So
We didn't see Lynn's, did we?
I'm sorry.
Or, I mean, Helen?
I didn't have one.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, you need to remind me because sometimes I have a tendency to miss people. So, anyway,
Okay, good.
So, if you were interested, I mean, I just wanted to follow this, because we're not gonna meet again until we're gonna meet in 2 weeks.
2 weeks, right?
But,
Yep.
think about, so I think, let me look at my calendar, so I get it right, but it would be,
the 13th?
the 30th, right? August,
Are you looking for the, what
Yeah.
challenge are you looking for?
is it the 30th? No, that's a Friday, so the 31st, so it'll be the 31st
For the
of August,
railroad.
if you wanted to take a trip.
Ah, okay, I see where you're going.
Because
Yeah, because the, if my dates are right here, the railroads is
Railroads.
Tuesday, September 10th.
Right,
So we do it before then.
right, oh, yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I would recommend going up there. It's a fun visit, just to go up and look at
yeah,
it.
and you could, and I'm sure you can, if it's a clear day, because if it's raining, we can go.
Well,
If it's a clear
and
day, you could just set up a tripod and start taking pictures of the trains coming right on, and it would blur out,
Yeah,
it would blur out the sides.
and they're open, I mean, to do anything, as long as you don't touch anything on them. But
Where-
they had one that was great, I don't know if you saw it, remember the, Back to the Future movie where they had the train pushing the DeLorean?
Yeah.
They had that on there.
where is the railroad museum that we went to sometime back?
Oh, it's on Beaver Creek
Is that the
Road
New Haven?
over towards Apex.
The
The New Hope Valley.
The New Hope Valley Railroad.
Yes, yes. Yeah, that's
another- I haven't been down there in a long time, so I don't know what they've
Took
added.
pictures of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was an extremely hot
Yeah.
day.
Yes.
Yeah.
The big one is in Salisbury, or.
I've been there.
The New Hope Valley apparently has changed its name because it's become part of, it's a North Carolina subsidized
Okay,
thing now. There's a lot more down there than the day that we went down there.
okay, 'cause it's been a long time since I've been down there.
It seems most of it is new, like an Aberdeen and Rockfish, a yard engine that I grew up with
Okay,
in Fayetteville with the Aberdeen and Rockfish yard engines would cause
Yeah,
us to wait hours to get through the road. But, a lot of newer stuff.
didn't they have an old, was it Nevin Station or something there?
Yeah, they
Oh, yeah.
moved, Liberty, not that,
No,
Liberty.
some town,
Yeah, some town on 421.
right.
Well, the sun's coming out.
Yep,
Yay.
Good meeting.
yep,
Great.
Thank you.
yep.
See you in 2 weeks.
And Lynn, are we still, is Lynn, can Lynn hear us?
She's still here.
Hey, Lynn.
Hello,
Hey, Lan. When's
the
the next,
inspector just came and went, so I just missed you all.
when's the, next challenge? I mean,
I have August 13th.
Yep.
And it's calm, so we had.
Oh, storm and calm.
Oh.
All right. Later.